Today's lecture will be starting with activity-based costing, and we'll try to cover up as much as possible because my plan was that Saturday, Sunday I would be completing with activity-based costing. That could not happen. So let us see if we can complete it by today and tomorrow, because I'm having plans, I'm scheduling things, but everything is subject to good weather and good connectivity. Starting with activity-based costing. The concept of activity-based costing came into picture after we saw what used to happen in CMA Inter when we had the topic of overheads. Overheads classification. Overheads is basically an indirect cost. An indirect cost means you don't have direct allocation of the cost to the product. So we go on an arbitrary basis in the sense that some particular arbitrary basis is selected for classification, and on that basis we do the allocation of the cost. Sometimes it is number of units produced, sometimes it is number of units sold, and it is different things for different problems, but it was not on an actual basis, not on a scientific basis, it was on some arbitrary basis. Now, since we are doing strategic cost management at the final level now, it is important for us that when we strategize and when we take decisions, decision making is a very important phase of business where we have to take a lot of important decisions. For example, I may have to decide whether a particular department should continue or not continue. I may have to take a decision where a particular product should be continued to be manufactured or not, or should I stop the production of that particular commodity. So like this, I may have to take a lot of decisions. But if the cost of the product or cost of the department is not calculated correctly, then in that case, what happens is I do not arrive at the cost correctly, and I may take a wrong decision. Let us see how it happens. I'll just take a small example and show you as to what happens if a wrong decision is taken. Let us take a small example. Suppose I have, say, 3 products, A, B, and C, and I'm manufacturing 3,000 units of A, 3,000 units of A, 2,000 units of B, and 1,000 units of C. This is my number of units produced and sold. Now, I tell you that I'm having some indirect cost of rupees 12,000. If I'm going on the basis of traditional costing and I'm allocating this to the 3 products on the basis of number of units produced, then what will happen is I will be allocating 6,000 to A, 4,000 to B, and 2,000 to C. This will be my allocation of 12,000 on the basis of traditional costing. But now what may happen is that I give you the breakup of this 12,000. And I tell you that of this 12,000, what are the different things that have taken place here? We have got what is called as setup cost. We have got what is called as inspection cost. And we have got something like machine cost. Okay. Now, this is the classification that we have done on the basis of traditional costing, this part is traditional costing. Now, I tell you that setup cost is something like 3,000. Inspection cost is something like 4,000. Or let us make that also 3,000. And this is 6,000. Now, as far as product A is concerned, A, B, and C, I tell you that machine cost is on the basis of number of machine hours or on the basis of number of units produced. So I tell you this is on the basis of units produced. Inspection cost. What has happened is it is on the basis of batches produced. Inspection per batch. And the setup cost, I tell you, it is on the basis of number of setups. Okay. Now, suppose I tell you that setup cost is there only for B and C. It is not there for A. Okay. Setup cost is not there for A. Number of setups, I tell you, 1000 here for B and 2000 for C. Or let us say 100 setups and 200 setups. 100 and 200. This is the number of setups. Number of batches. Number of batches. I tell you that it is, say, 150 for A. 150 batches, sorry. 75 for B, 75 for C. Let us make this 75, this 150, 75. Okay. And this will be on the basis of number of units. That is 3000, 2000, and 1000 units. Now, if I'm doing the classification on the basis of these particular activities or these particular features, where setup cost of 3000 is to be classified on the basis of number of setups, inspection cost is to be done on the basis of number of batches, and machine cost is to be allocated on the basis of number of units produced. Let us see how it will look like. In that case, setup cost of 3000 will be allocated nil to A and 1000 to B, and you can say that it is 2000. Setup cost is on the basis of number of setups, 2000 to C. The setup cost of 3000 is allocated nil to A because here it is nil. 100 is to 200, that is 1 is to 2. So 1000 is to 2000. That is the allocation. Acha, inspection cost is to be done on the basis of number of batches. So number of batches, 75 is to 150 is to 75. 1 is to 2 is to 1. Okay. So I will have 750 here, 1500 here, and 750 here. Machine cost on the basis of number of units produced. So 3000, 2000, and 1000. This is my machine cost. Okay. Now, the same 12,000 now has been classified on the basis of these activities. So how much does A get? A gets 3,750. How much does B get? B gets 4,500. And C gets 3,750. So total 12,000, this is the classification allocation value. Now what do you find? This particular figures, 6,000, 4,000, 2,000, and these figures. What has happened is, you can see that this is as per ABC. We call it as activity-based costing. So you find that A has been shown more over here, 6,000, whereas actually it should have been allocated only 3,000. B has been shown here as 4,000, but actually it is 4,500. That means B is under costing. C we are showing 2,000, but actually it should have been 3,750. That means even for C, that is under costing. Whereas for A, it is over costing. So if I had to take a decision for A, or if I had to take a decision as to which of the three products should be eliminated, should not be produced because of high cost. In the case of traditional costing, I would have said A should not be produced because A's cost is very high, 6,000. Okay. Whereas here I am saying that A should be produced, B should not be produced because B has got a very high cost. So decision making changes when the cost is not allocated properly, and because of this, wrong decisions are taken. And as a result, if my decisions go wrong, then I end up, instead of making a profit, I make a loss. Or instead of producing a commodity, I stop the production, and instead of a commodity where I should have stopped the production, I continue the production of that. So decisions go wrong because the cost has not been allocated properly. So we say that traditional costing has got some basic problem. And the cost of 12,000, this 12,000 cannot be distributed on some arbitrary basis where I take the number of units as a basis and divide the cost. That is traditional costing. So now what we have done, we have broken up this 12,000 into the different activities that constitute that 12,000 indirect cost. And what are those activities? Setup of cost, inspection cost, machine cost. Now what is the setup cost? I have told you, setup cost is that cost which is required where I am producing a particular product of different dimensions. I may be producing cardboard boxes of different sizes. So when I prepare of a particular size, I require the machines to be set up in a particular manner. If I prepare larger boxes, then I need to rearrange the machines for manufacturing larger boxes. So setup means the number of times you are rearranging the machine. You are rearranging the production setup. So that is setup cost. Inspection cost, every batch you are inspecting for quality of the goods. So inspection cost will depend upon number of batches. Sometimes it depends upon number of batches and number of units per batch. Okay, and then machine cost. Machine cost can be taken on the basis of number of units produced, or it can be taken on the basis of number of machine hours which are utilized for every product. Now, what is this? This is my activity. Setup cost, inspection cost, machine cost. It is my activity. Or I can say that it is my cost driver. What do I call it? I call it as cost driver. So what is a cost driver? Something that changes the cost. That means number of, for example, if my number of setups increase, my cost will increase. If my number of setups decrease, my cost will decrease. So I can say that it is the factor or it is that particular activity that changes the cost of a particular product. So it is a cost driver is nothing but something that describes what is that indirect cost. Okay, so that is a cost driver. Now, if I tell you that these are the figures which are given to you, 100, 200, 75, 150, 75, 3000, 2000, these are what? These are called as cost driver quantity. So I call it as CDQ, cost driver quantity. That means how much of the cost drivers are actually utilized for a particular product. The quantity, number of setups, number of batches, number of units, number of machine hours. So that gives me the cost driver quantity. Now, the total of this, if I take, now here the total is, suppose I take the total of this over here. This total is 300. This total is 300. And this total is 6,000. If I take 3,000 divided by 300, I get the rate as 10. I get the rate as 10. If I take 3,000 and divide by this 300, again I get the rate as 10. If I take 6,000 and divide by 6,000, I get the rate as 1. What is this called? This is called cost driver rate, CDR. So cost driver quantity and cost driver rate. Cost driver is the factor that describes the activity. Cost driver quantity, how many units or how many such activities have been done for a particular product, for a particular department, that is cost driver quantity. When you take the cost, that is the amount of, this is the amount. When you take the amount of each activity or the cost of each activity and divide by the cost driver quantity, you get what is called as the cost driver rate. So any problem that involves activity-based costing, cost driver rates are normally calculated first. Okay. Now we have, when we are talking about cost driver, let us also discuss the two types of cost drivers. The first type of cost driver is called as resource cost driver. Resource cost driver. And the second is called as activity cost driver. Okay. Now, resource cost driver means what? Resource cost driver means it measures the amount or quantity of resources consumed by an activity. The resources consumed by an activity. For example, the quantity of grease that is consumed by machine, that will be a resource cost driver. Or the nuts and bolts that go to tighten a particular product, or that go in the manufacture of a particular product. Number of nuts and bolts used, resource cost driver. Okay, the square feet of area that is occupied. Sometimes we say, no, you must have done departmental accounts also in accounts. So there we say that, classification of certain items. For example, the rent of the entire premises is given to you, and then how much to allocate to each department. We say it will be allocated on the basis of area occupied. Now that area occupied is a resource cost driver. Okay, so like that we are having the resource cost driver. What is an activity cost driver? Activity cost driver, that means here we are talking about quantity of resources consumed. Quantity of resources consumed. Okay. When we are talking about activity cost driver, we talk about number of transactions. For example, number of purchases, or I say number of receipts in a stores. Number of times I have received the raw material. Okay. Number of orders processed. Number of orders processed. Number of visits to customers. The transactions involved. Okay. Or I have duration. Or I have duration. Duration means what? Like for example, I say machine hours. Or I say inspection hours. Duration, time of a particular activity. So that is called as activity cost driver. Okay. So every cost driver will have a cost driver rate to be calculated. That rate is to be applicable for the different products or the different departments. Okay. So what do we do in activity based costing? First, what we do is we are going to calculate, or we are going to find out what are the different activities that constitute that indirect cost or that indirect overheads. Then each of those activities will be called as cost drivers. We find out what are the costs which are to be allocated, the amount that is to be allocated. Then we find out now, for example, this particular thing, the amount as a call. It is called as cost pool. These are different terms which are used. Cost pool. So that cost pool has to be segregated on the basis of the different activities. And those cost pools will be divided by the cost driver quantity, and I will get the cost driver rate. So this is what we normally do in activity-based costing. Okay. Now in activity-based costing, there is one very important thing that we have to learn, and that is value-added activities. We have done this before. Value-added activities and non-value-added activities. These are different things which are the concepts which are there in your topic of activity-based costing. Value-added activities are those activities which will add value to the product or the service rendered. They are useful activities. these are activities which will, increase the value of the product. Okay. Non-value added activities are those activities which do not add any value to the product. That means it doesn't make a difference whether those activities are performed or not performed. Okay. Value added activities are those activities which are necessary for the performance of the product or the process, and they improve the quality or the function of the product. And these are activities for which the customer is willing to pay. So you tell the customer that if I do like this, if I add this additional part, or if I put this of a better quality, the speed of the machine will increase. It will give you better output. So definitely the customer will say, yes, I want this value, this particular part to be added to the asset. So it is something that adds value to your asset, that adds value to your product. Okay. So for example, a laptop is there or a computer is there. So you say that, you tell the customer that if you add this anti-glare screen, it will protect your eyes. So customer says, yes, I want this anti-glare screen also. So it is a value added item that adds value to the product, and the customer is willing to pay for it. If you said, yes, it is necessary because I'm sitting before the laptop, I'm sitting before the computer for hours together during the day, I'm working before the computer. So I require to protect my eyes. So I require this anti-glare. So it is a value added item. Okay. So these are things which add a value which the customer does not mind paying for. So if you tell the customer that the cost is going to increase, you tell him, fine, I don't mind, but I want this to be done because it adds value. Earlier, when automobiles were purchased, now the High Court ruling and the Supreme Court ruling has come. But earlier, when the automobiles were purchased, the cars were purchased, everybody used to put a safety guard in front of the car, so that in case of an accident, the impact is not on the vehicle, the impact is first on the guard, on the protection guard, and the damage to the vehicle will be minimal. Likewise, we used to have a bumper behind the car, that if in case somebody is banging from behind, it does not damage the car directly. It will first attack the bumper and the car will have minimum damage. But now, as per the Supreme Court ruling, I do not understand the reason for that. But there is a Supreme Court ruling which says that the automobiles should not be having any front guard or rear guard. And it has been such that, if you are found with the front guard or the rear guard, they will remove that guard. They will ask you to remove it and they will put a penalty also. So these are things, now if I do it, it is a non-value added act. But originally if I had done it, it was a value added act. Okay. So these are things which will depend upon whether it adds value to for the customer and if he is willing to pay more for it. So earlier the customer used to say, okay, you put the front guard because it is for my safety. You put the back guard, it is for my safety. So cars or automobiles which were having these guards, these accident guards, these safeguards, were having more value, were having more cost. Likewise, an AC and non-AC car. Okay, so some people would prefer to drive the car with the windows closed because a lot of pollution is there, so they would like to drive the cars with the windows closed. And when the windows are closed, we definitely require AC, otherwise we'll suffocate. So AC cars, yes, AC cars. But AC will consume more of petrol or diesel. You say, no problem, I don't mind because it adds value. I get pure air. I don't want the polluted air. So in this way, certain things are there which add value to your product. So if they are added to the product, the cost of the product will increase. And if the cost of the product increases, you have to see whether the customer is willing to pay for the additional cost. Okay. Now, in this particular topic, what is important is one theory question is very important. That is distinction between traditional costing and activity-based costing. First thing that is important. Second thing that is important is distinction between activity-based costing and activity-based management. What is activity-based management? Can you tell me? Activity-based management. Management means what? Planning, ordering, execution, measurement, okay? All those things. So activity-based costing is the technique of finding out the allocation of indirect overheads to the different outputs, to the different products. That is activity-based costing. Activity-based management is referring to the management philosophy that focuses on planning of an activity, execution of an activity, measurement of activities. This is the concept of activity-based management. So a distinction between activity-based costing and activity-based management, that can be asked. These are two important theory questions. Okay. Now there is nothing much in this. As I told you, it is purely allocation of cost on the basis of cost drivers. In certain problems, they will give you what cost driver, what activity, what cost driver is there. In certain other problems, they may not give you. You have to identify which particular activity will have what cost driver. Once you identify the cost drivers, you have to find out the cost driver rates. So that becomes a major part of your question. Okay, so it is a very simple topic. But as I said, at the final level, we may not have only a question on activity-based costing. If it comes, well and good. It is a bonus question because it's very simple. But sometimes what will happen is that they will ask you, as we have done earlier also, a problem with traditional costing, target costing, activity-based costing, all together in one single problem. So then in that case, you have to solve lengthy problems where activity-based costing is a part of the question. Okay, so I want to now start directly with the problems based on activity-based costing. So you can just refer to page 116 of your book. Page 116. Question number 1. I'll be starting with the questions. Question 1. Everybody is ready? Okay. Budgeted overheads and cost driver volumes of in the corporation are as follows. You have materials purchase given to you, material handling, setup cost, maintenance cost, quality control, machine, number of orders, number of movements, number of setups, maintenance hours, number of inspections, and number of machine hours. Now in this particular problem, you can see that they have given one against the other. So for every activity, they have given the respective cost driver. So material purchase activity, the cost driver is number of orders. Okay. Now this budgeted volumes means what? These budgeted volumes are nothing but cost driver quantities. Okay, they are cost driver quantities. Now, the company has produced a batch of 3,000 components of AB30. Its material cost is 1,50,000 and direct labor cost is 3 lakhs. The usage activities of the said batch are as follows. Machine hours are given, material orders, material movement, setup, maintenance hours, and number of inspections are given. You are asked to calculate cost driver rates that are used for treating appropriate amount of overheads to the said batch. The calculation of cost driver rates. Every activity-based costing problem will normally start with calculation of cost driver rates. Second, ascertain the cost of the batch of components using the ABC technique. Simple problem, purely based on activity-based costing, nothing else. Let us see how to solve. Right now, question number 1. Calculation of cost driver rates. calculation of cost driver rates. First one, material purchase. Now, if you see in the question, they have given you cost of material purchase as 9 lakhs, and that is on the basis of number of orders. So 9 lakhs divided by number of orders 3000. So the cost driver rate is 300 rupees. Second, material handling. Material handling. Total cost is 4 lakhs. Number of material movements is 1000. So divided by 1000, it is 400 rupees. Third, setup. Total cost is 3 lakhs. Divided by number of setups 600. These are all the cost drivers, cost driver rates. Maintenance. Ten lakhs divided by maintenance hours 10,000. 100 rupees. Quality control 2 lakhs divided by number of inspections 1000. It's 200. Last one, machine cost. 10 lakhs divided by 20,000. So these are all the cost driver rates. Now, on the basis of this, we are supposed to prepare a cost statement for calculating the cost of 3000 components. Okay, calculating the cost of 3000 components. And for 3000 components, what are the different cost drivers and the cost driver quantities? Cost driver quantities are given to you. So machine hours is 2500 for manufacturing 3000 components. Same way, machine order, the material orders are given, 30 orders. So if 30 orders are there, okay, I will multiply 300 into 30 to calculate the material purchase cost. Like that. Okay. So in this case, total cost, like we normally used to prepare for traditional costing cost sheet. Now the cost sheet is based on activity based costing. Okay. So let us prepare the statement. Statement showing cost of 3000 components. Cost of 3000 components. Particulars and amount column. Total cost of materials I have to show. For manufacturing 3,000 components, my material cost has been, direct material cost is 1,50,000. So I say starting first with direct materials. Direct materials, $1,50,000. Direct labor 3 lakhs. Direct labor 3 lakhs. Then all the indirect cost. Material procurement cost. That is material purchase cost. How many orders were there? 30 orders. Per order the cost was 300. Cost rate was 300. So 300 into 30. 9,000. Material handling cost. Material handling cost. Material movements are 15 and rate is 400. So 400 into 15, 6,000. Setup cost. Setup cost. Rate is 500. Number of setups 30. So 500 into 30, 15,000. Maintenance cost. Maintenance cost. Rate is 100 rupees. And maintenance hours, we have 500. 50,000. Quality control. Quality control. Rate is 200 rupees. Inspections, number of inspections 30. 6,000. And last is machine cost. Rate is 50 rupees. Machine hours 2,500. $1,25,000.
$6,46,000.
How much?
6,46,000.
46 quantity. 9 and 6, 15, 20, 26, 31. 1, carry 3. Into 5 and 5, 10, 11, and 5, 16. 6 carry
6,61,000.
61,000. Check. Correct, no? Correct?
Yes, sir.
Calculate the cost per unit, cost per component. 6,61,000 divided by 3,000. 220.33. 20.33. So simple problem we had over here. Let us come to question number 2. Another simple problem, small problem. Zynga Incorporation has collected the following data for its 2 activities. It calculates the cost rates based on cost driver capacity. 2 activities given to you are power and inspection. Cost drivers are given kilowatt hours and the number of inspections. Capacity is given 60,000 kilowatt hour and 25,000 inspections. Cost is given to you 3 lakhs and 5 lakhs. The company makes 3 products A, B, and C for the year ended 31st March 2018. The following consumption of cost drivers was reported. You see now they have given you the cost consumption for product A, B, and C. 10,000 kilowatt hours, 25,000 and 20,000 kilowatt hours. Quality inspections were 10,000, 8,000 and 5,000. Compute the cost allocated to each product from each activity. Compute the cost allocated, the cost allocation to each product from each activity. And second, calculate the cost of unused capacity for each activity. Cost of unused capacity. Let us see how to calculate. First, what I'll do is I'll write down, as I told you, calculation of cost driver rate is important. So first I'll write calculation of cost driver rate. Calculation of cost driver rate. This is the first thing to do. 2 activities are there. One is power. 3 lakhs is the cost. 60,000 is the total capacity. So 3 lakhs divided by 60,000. Rupees 5 per kilowatt hour. Second is inspection. Total cost of inspection is 5 lakhs. Number of inspections are 25,000. Rupees 20 per inspection. Now prepare cost allocation to each activity. Particulars in 4 columns, A, B, and C, and total column. Let us start with power. Number of kilowatt hours consumed by A is 10,000. So I'll say 10,000 into 5. $50,000. Show the working. For B, we have consumed 25,000 hours. So 25,000 into 5. For C, it is 20,000 into 5. That is 1 lakh. Total 275. Same way I'll do for inspection. $10,000 inspections into 20. That will give me 2 lakhs. 10,000 into 20. 8,000 into 20. 1,60,000. 5,000 into 20. Total 4,60,000. 2,50,000 total for A. 285 for B. 2 lakhs for C. So cost allocated to each product from the activity. I've given you the cost. 2,50,000 for A total, 285 for B, and 2 lakhs for C. Individually, I've given you. Power it is 50,000, 1 lakh 25, 1 lakh. Inspection it is 2 lakh, 1 lakh 60, and 1 lakh. Now the second part of the question. Second part of the question says, calculate the cost of unused capacity for each activity. Total cost that is likely to be incurred is 3 lakhs for a power. Out of that, I have incurred only 2 lakhs 75. So the unused part is 25,000. Cost of the unused part is 25,000. 3 lakhs minus 2 lakhs 25. Inspection, the total cost is 5 lakhs, total overheads. Out of that, how much has been absorbed is only 4 lakhs 60. The cost of unused capacity is 40,000. 5 lakh minus 4 lakhs 60. So let us write down that cost of unused capacity. Cost of unused capacity. Power. 3 lakhs minus 2 lakhs 60, 2 lakhs 75,000 is 25,000. Inspection. 5 lakhs minus 4 lakhs 60. 40,000. So the total cost of unused capacity is 65,000. Done. This is your question number 2. As I told you, problems can be sometimes very simple. Now we'll have comparison done with different methods of costing. Come to question number 3. A company manufacturing two products L and N furnish the following data for the year. Two products are there, L and M. Annual output is given 5,000, 7,000. Machine hours per unit is given 3 and 1. 3 hours per unit for L and 1 hour per unit for M. Direct labor hours is 1 and 2. Number of orders handled, 15 orders and 60 orders. Number of setups, 10 and 40. Annual overhead costs are given. Relating to machine activity, 2,20,000 rupees. Relating to production setups, it is 20,000. Relating to handling of orders, 45,000. Total 2,85,000. Calculate production overheads to be absorbed by 1 unit of each of the products. Production overhead absorption rate. In other words, it is production overhead absorption rate per unit for each of the products L and M using the following methods. First method, traditional costing approach using direct labor hour. That means the basis of classification is direct labor hour rate. See, I told you under traditional costing, it may be number of units manufactured and sold, or it may be machine hours, or it may be labor hours, right? So here they are saying it is on the basis of labor hour rate. Traditional costing allocation to be done on labor hour basis. Second, an activity-based costing approach using suitable cost drivers to trace the overheads to the products. So that means now we are having a problem of traditional costing and ABC, activity-based costing. Let us see. We'll start with traditional costing. Right now. Traditional costing. This is the classification of total overheads of 2,85,000 on the basis of machine hour rate. First, let us calculate and write down the total overheads. How much is the total overheads? It is 2,85,000. So total overheads rupees 2,85,000. Allocation to be done on the basis of direct labor hours. So I need to calculate the total number of labor hours. So total direct labor hours. We are producing 5,000 units of L and the labor hour per unit is 1. So it will be 5,000 into 1 plus 7,000 units of M and 2 hours per unit. So 7,000 into 2. 5,000 plus 14,000. 19,000 hours. Overhead absorption rate. Overhead absorption rate. 2,85,000 total overhead cost divided by 19,000 hours. So that comes to 15 rupees per hour. Correct? Now, allocation of overheads. Product L. How many hours of product L? 5,000 hours. What is the rate per hour? 15 rupees. So 5,000 into 15, that comes to 75,000. Product N, 14,000 hours into 15 per hour. Two lakh 10,000. Two lakh 85,000. So this is the classification based on traditional costing methods. Correct? Traditional costing, I have made use of what is the basis? Direct labor hours. On the basis of direct labor hours, 75,000 for L and 2,10,000 for N. That is how we have allocated. Now, sometimes what happens is, very careful you have to be, examination. So many times I do the problem and it is correct also. I tally my answer with my friend. Answer is correct. But I don't get full marks. My friend gets full marks. The reason is that I must have not written down some steps. Because every step, every calculation carries marks in the examination. So if you're doing something directly, then you don't expect to get full marks, even if your answer is right. So there is no obligation for the examiner that your answer is correct, so you should get full marks. So like that, I can copy from my friend partner also and get full marks by writing the correct answer. But method and the steps are important. So first you have to show total overheads, you have to show total direct labor hours, find out the rate per hour, because this part is important. I have to show how the rates are calculated as per the traditional costing method and ABC method. And here I have to show that this overhead absorption rate is calculated on the basis of direct labor hours. So calculations, steps have to be shown. Otherwise, even if your answer is correct, don't expect full marks. I always tell the students how best to write an answer. Ensure that you are writing the answer in such a manner that examiner finds it difficult to cut your marks. That is what I do for the examination. Write the answer in such a manner that examiner finds it difficult to cut marks. He says that I cannot cut the marks because all the calculations are shown. Where can I cut the marks? Why should I cut the marks? So that is important. Write your answers in such a manner that examiner finds it difficult to deduct your marks and is forced to give you full marks. Okay, so this is traditional costing. Let us do ABC system. ABC system. First, what we do? Calculation of cost levels. Calculation of cost levels. Sorry, cost level rates. Okay. First one, machine hour rate. Total machine cost is 2,20,000. Total machine hours. Go to your question. Machine hours total 5,000 units of L into 3 hours per unit. 5,000 units of L into 3 hours per unit. That makes it 15,000 plus 7,000 units of AM into 1 hour per unit is 7,000.
22,000.
So it is 2,20,000 divided by 22,000. So rate per hour is 10 rupees. Machine hour rate is 10 rupees. Setup rate. Setup, production setup, cost is 20,000. For product L, it is 10 setups. For product M, it is 40 setups. So 10 plus 40 is 50. So 20,000 divided by 50. ₹400 per setup. Handling cost rate. Total handling cost is 45,000. Number of orders handled 15 and 60. $45,000 divided by 75. Rupees 600. Then so now let us calculate the total cost of L and M as per activity based costing. So I'll prepare a small statement. Statement showing overheads absorbed. Statement showing overheads absorbed. Particulars and 2 columns, product L, product M. Ready? Starting with first machine cost. Don't start with anything. Let us go back to the earlier statement. Machine cost rate is about 10 rupees. For first product, it is 15,000. That is why I calculated and wrote down here separately. I did not write total. 10 into 15,000 for L and 10 into 7,000 for M. So 10 into 15,000 is 1,50,000. 15,000 into 10. 7,000 into 10. This is my machine cost. Then we have setup cost. Same way. Setup rate is 400. 400 into 10, 400 into 40. 400 into 10 is 4,000. 400 into 40, 16,000. Setup cost. Handling cost. $600 into 15. 9,000. And 600 into 60. 36,000. 150 plus 13, 163. 70, 80, 110, 122.
1,22,000.
Yes. Total overhead cost as per ABC. Okay, simple problems. Now let us come to question number 4. A company manufactures two products P and D using common facilities. The following cost data for a month are presented to you. Units produced 1,000 and 2,000. Direct labor hours per unit 2 and 3. Machine hours per unit 6 and 1.5. Setup of machines 15 and 50. Orders 18 and 70. Machine activity expenses total is 3 lakhs. Setup related expense total 30,000. And orders related expenses 35,000. Calculate the overheads per unit absorbed using activity based costing approach. So let us do it. First, to calculate what? Cost drivers. Method is same. I always start with cost drivers. Calculation of cost driver rates. First one, machine related Total cost is 3 lakhs. Divided by setup of machines. Setup of machines. Tell me. Divided by how much? What will you take over here? Will you take machine hours as the cost ever? Or will you take the
9,000. Machine hours, 9,000.
Machine hours, yes. So 6 into 1000 is 6,000 plus 1.5 into 2000, that is 3,000. 3 lakhs divided by 9,000.
$33.3.
Correct. 33.33. Next is setup related cost. Total cost is 30,000 divided by 15 plus 50. 30,000 divided by 65.
61.54.
61.4. Then third one, orders related. $35,000 divided by 18 plus 70. 35,000 divided by 88.
397.
7.73.
397.73.
773.
Now prepare a statement, absorption of overheads. Thousand units of P, 2000 units of L, total and per unit column. Starting with machine expenses. Machine expenses 33.33 into number of machine hours 6. So how much will it be? 1000. It will come to 1,99,980. Multiply, you will get 1,99,980. I'll take it as 2 lakhs. Round up the figure. Actual figure is 1,99,980. I'll round it up to 2 lakhs. Now 2 lakhs divided by 1000 per unit cost is 200. Same with 33.33 into 3000 hours is 99,990. I will take it as 1 lakh. And 1 lakh divided by 2000.
50 rupees.
That is machine expenses. Second is setup expenses. $461.54
Into 15.
into 15. 6923. Per unit 6.92. 461.54 into 50 is 23,077. Divided by 2,000.
11.5.
54. Order expenses 397.73 into 18 7159 per unit 7.16 27,841 divided by 2
14.
10.9.
is 13.9. Take the total. Done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this is 4:23 on my watch. I give you a break of exactly 10 minutes. 4:33 I start the lecture again. So break of exact 10 minutes.
Okay, sir.
Is everybody back? So let us start. We'll start with question number 5. From here starts big problems, more calculations, more analysis. Raymond Suits is a ready-to-wear suit manufacturer. It has 4 customers, 2 wholesale channel customers and to retail channel customers. They have given you the activity-based costing system of Raymond Suits. Activities are order processing, sales visits, delivery regular and delivery urgent. Cost hours are given to you, purchase orders, customer visits, number of regular deliveries, urgent deliveries, and the rates are given. So cost hour rates are already given. You don't have to calculate. List selling price per suit is 1000 rupees and the average cost per unit is 550 rupees. So 550 is the cost of goods sold. Then they have given the list selling price means that from the list selling price, it is also list price is also called as catalog price. Okay, so list selling price, that is catalog price, is 1000 rupees. Cost of manufacture is 550. The CEO of Raymond Suits wants to evaluate the profitability of each of the 4 customers in 2017 to explore the opportunities for increasing profitability of his company in 2018. Following data is available for 2017. They have given you total number of orders for the 4 customers, total number of sale visits, regular deliveries, urgent deliveries, average number of suits per order, average selling price per unit. Average selling price per unit. If you go to see selling price, they have given 2 figures. One is list price, which is the catalog price, and the second one is average selling price per unit, which is the actual selling price per unit. So, for example, now if I take 700 into the number of suits which are purchased and sold, and accordingly I will get the rate for that. So, if I take, for example, the first one, wholesale customer W, average number of suits per order is 400. Number of orders are 44. Okay. So I get the actual selling price. Actual selling price as how much? 1 crore 23 lakh 20,000. So what I'm doing is 700 into 400 into 44. 700 is the selling price per unit. How many units per order? 400 units per order. How many orders? 44 orders. So when you're calculating, you have to do the calculations this way. Actual selling price. 700 into 400 into 44. Same way, 800 into 200 into 62. Okay, like that you have to multiply because I want total selling price. That is the actual selling price. So list price was 1000. List price was 1000. Now the actual selling price is different from the list price. So the difference between the actual selling price and the list price will be the discount. The difference between actual selling price and the list price will be the discount. So all this we have to understand what they have given, why they have given. First question, required. What is required? Calculate the customer level operating income in 2017. So what is the operating income of previous year? Second, what do you recommend to the CEO to do to increase the company's operating income in 2018? How to increase that operating income? Recommendations. Third, assume the company's distribution channel costs are 17,50,000 for its wholesale customers and 10,50,000 for the retail customers. Also assume that its corporate sustaining costs are 12,50,000. Prepare income statement of Raymond Suits for the year. It should be 2018. For the year 2018. Okay, now what we will do is, we will first try to find out, oh sorry, this is 2017 only, not 2018, this is 2017. What we'll do first is, prepare operating income statement for 2017 for the 4 customers W, H, R, and T. How to calculate operating income statement? List price minus the discount, actual price, minus the cost of goods sold, minus the indirect cost on the basis of cost drivers which are given to you. Okay, and then whatever I get is the customer level operating income. After that, we have to do some more calculations, which I will tell you after we finish the preparation of the statement of the year. So let us now start with question number 5, customer level operating income statement. Particulars and 4 columns for the 4 customers. Ready? First we'll start with revenue at list price. Revenue at list price. How to calculate? Number of units per order, 400. How many orders? 44 into 1000. 400 into 44 into 1000. 1 crore 76 lakhs. Same way, 200 units into 62 into 1000. 1 crore 24 lakhs. Then 30 into 212 into 1000. 63 lakh 60. Last one. 25 into 250. 62 lakh 50. Minus discount. Now I do not know what is the rate of discount, so I'll take it as balancing figure. It is the difference between the actual price and the list price. So now I take actual price. $700 into 400 into 44. 1 crore 23 lakh 20,000. Minus 1 crore 76 lakhs. 52 lakh 80 is the discount. Then 800 into 200 into 62. 99 lakh 20,000. Minus 1 crore 24 lakhs. 24 lakh 80,000 discount. 850 into 30 into 212. 54 lakh 6,000. Minus 63 lakh 60. It's 9 lakh 54,000. And the last one. 900 into 25 into 250. 56 lakh 25,000 actual price. Minus 62 lakh 50. 6 lakh 25. This is the actual price and the discount. Less from that. Cost of goods sold at the rate of 550 each. That is the cost given to you. So 550 into 700 into, sorry, 550 into 400 into 44. 96 lakh 80,000. I suppose you are understanding my calculations from where I am getting the figures. Then 550 cost into 200 into 62. 68 lakh 20,000. Then 550 into 30 into 212 is 34 lakh 98,000. The last one, 550 into 25 into 250. 34, 37, 500. Selling price minus the cost of goods sold will give you gross profit or gross margin. Write the figures properly. Minus customer level operating cost. Customer level operating cost. How to calculate? First one, order processing. Order processing rate is given. Rate is given. 1,225 per order. And number of orders are 44. So 1,225 into 44. 53,900. You have to subtract this. So put all the bracket. Then 1,225 into 62. 75,950. Then 1,225 into 2 and 2. 259,700. Then 1,225 into 250. 3,06,250. Okay, that is the first one. I'll continue on the next slide. You continue on the same page. After that, I will have sales results. Rate is 7150 into 8, 57,200. 7150 into 12, 85,800. Then 7150 into 22, 157,300. And into 20, 1,43,000. Then regular delivery. $1,500 into 41, 61,500 into 48, 72,000 into 166, 2,49,000 into 190, 2,85. Urgent deliveries. Rate is 4250 into 3, 12,750 into 14, 59,500 into 46, 195,500 into 60, 2,55,000 minus all these figures. customer level operating income. So calculate and tell me the figures after subtracting from the gross margin all these minus figures.
24,54,650.
How much is first one?
24,54,650.
Second one? $28 lakh 6,750. Third one?
10,46,500.
10,46,000.
Yes, 10 lakh 46,500. You're faster. And the sound of your typewriter also. Sorry, not typewriter, calculator.
11 lakhs 98,250.
$10 lakh 98,250. Okay. Now what you'll do is you calculate this customer level operating income as percentage of actual price. So 24 lakh 54,650 divided by 24 54 650 divided by 1 crore 23 lakh 20,000 percentage 19.92%. Okay. Second, 28 point
28.29%.
yes. Third one,
19.36.
19.36. Last one,
9.73.
how much?
9.7.
Last one, 11 lakh.
21.3.
Yeah, it is 21.3.
Yes.
So now do one more thing. Percentage of discount to list price. Percentage of discount to list price. What are your discounting figures? First one, 52
2
lakh.
lakhs 8,000
30%.
divided by
Yes, sir. 30%.
Second one, 24 lakh divided by 20%.
20%.
Third one, 954 divided by 63,
15%.
3%.
10%.
Yes, sir.
Now let us see what is the recommendation that we have applied. if you see the rate of return of W on the actual price is 19.92%, whereas of R also is around 19.36%. But R is getting only 15% discount, whereas W is getting 30% discount, double the rate of discount. So for more or less the same operating level, that is income, which is contributed by R, for W we are giving him double discount, 30% discount, where R is getting only 15% discount. More so, H is getting 28.22%, whereas discount given to him is only 20%, whereas W is getting 30% discount. So not fair. Okay. If you go to see the last two customers, R and T, 19.36 and 21.30%. As compared to H, both of this is less. Now, one of the reasons you can see over here is that we are having a very high delivery and urgent delivery cost as compared to the remaining two customers, W and H. It is 2,49,000 and 2,85,000. And even the sales visits are more. The cost is more. So all these figures are higher for R&D. You can see that operating costs are higher for R&D. So as compared to the first two customers, the last two customers R&D are having high operating cost. If we are able to reduce that, if we are able to reduce the operating cost of R&D, maybe that this and this percentage we can further improve, we can further increase. And then maybe that, one of the customers R or D may be giving a better returns than H also. So high customer level cost for R&D should be avoided at all cost without affecting their sales. Without affecting their sales. So these are the two recommendations that we can write. Okay. So write on the first one. First recommendation. Right now. The CEO should reduce the discount allowed. Should reduce the discount allowed to customer W. To customer W. Second recommendation. High customer level operating cost. High customer level operating cost of R&D should be reduced. Without affecting their turnover. Without affecting their turnover. Okay, so these are the two answers for the first two parts. Now what they are saying is, assume that company's distribution channel costs are 17,50,000 for the wholesale customers and 10,50,000 for the retail customers. So wholesale customers means what? W and H put together, they are wholesale customers. And retail customers means what? R and T put together, they are retail customers. Okay. So for the wholesale customers, the distribution channel cost is 17,50,000. That is together for W and H. And for R and T together, it is 10,50,000. Also assume that its corporate sustaining costs are 12,50,000. Prepare income statement. So let us see operating income statement. Write down statement of operating income. Now what you do is particulars, wholesale, retail. Now wholesale, when I write, it is W plus H. And retail, when I write, it is R plus T. And then total. prepare a statement like this. First, you write customer level operating income. Customer level operating income. Now go to your previous statement. Take the total of these two figures, 24,54,650 and 28,06,750.
52,61,400.
52,61,400. Okay. So if you take the total of R&D, these two figures,
22,44,700.
22,44,700. Now take the total of these two figures in the total column.
25,06,150.
75 lakhs.
75,06,150 minus distribution channel costs. Distribution channel costs. 17,50,000. 10,50,000. 28 lakhs.
$35 lakhs, 1,400.
35 lakhs, 11,400.
2,000.
11 lakh,
11 lakhs, 94,750.
750.
yes. Total
47 lakhs 6,001.
Lakhs, 6,150.
47 lakhs, 6,100.
150.
Less from this. Less from the total now. Corporate sustaining cost. To be deducted only from the last column. 12,50,000.
34 lakhs 56,000.
34 lakh 56,150.
Net income.
Net operating income, sir.
Net operating income. Let us take question number 6. X Limited is engaged in the production of products A, B, C, and D. The price charged for the products are 180, 175, 130, and 180 respectively. Market research has indicated that if X Limited can reduce the selling price of its product by 5 rupees, it will be successful in getting bulk orders and gain a significant share of market share of those products. The company's profit markup is 25% on cost of the product, 25% on cost, that is 20% on selling price. The relevant information of the products are as follows. Output they have given 600, 500, 400, and 600. Cost per unit they have given, direct materials, direct labor, and machine hours per unit is given. The 4 products are usually produced in production runs of 20 units. One production run is of 20 units and sold in batches of 10 units. That means one batch comprised of 10 units. The production overhead is currently absorbed by using a machine hour rate, and the total of the production overheads for the period has been analyzed as follows. You are given the machine department cost, setup cost, stores receiving, inspection and quality cost, material handling and dispatch. Correction is to be made. It is 23,100. 23,100. So please note the correction. Material handling and dispatch is 23,100. Cost drivers to be used for the overhead costs are as follows. Setup cost, number of production runs, stores receiving, requisition is raised. Inspection or quality control, it is 10,000, number of production runs. Material handling and dispatch, it is order executed. Number of requisitions raised in the stores was 100 for each product. Number of orders executed was 210, each order being for a batch of 10 units. You are required to compute target cost for each product and the total cost of each product using activity-based costing. And second, compare the target cost and the activity-based cost of each product and comment whether the price reduction is profitable or not. Okay, so my first job in ABC is to calculate cost driver rate. And for that purpose, first I will calculate target cost. Before I calculate the ABC, I will first do target cost. How to do target cost? Target cost means existing selling price. I jump to the proposed selling price of reducing 5 rupees from each one, and then minus the 20% of selling price to get the target cost. 25% on cost to 20% on selling price. Okay, so let us do this. First, to prepare statement showing target cost. Statement showing target cost. Product present price, proposed price, target cost. I have shown the equation below. Cost plus markup is equal to selling price. So 100 plus 25 is equal to 125. So 25 upon 100 is 1 by 4. 25 upon 125 is 1 by 5. So it is 1 by 5 is nothing but 20% on selling price. So let us start for the 4 products now. Product A, product B, product C, and product D. Product A is 180. Product B is 175. Product C is 130. Product D is 180. What are we proposing to do? Reducing it by 5 rupees. So 180 minus 5 is 175. This will be 170. This This will be 125. And this will be 175. Now, from 175, which is the proposed selling price, minus 20% markup. 175 minus 20% will be 140.
140.
170 minus 20%, that is 34, it's 136. 125 minus 20% is
100.
100.
100.
And this will be 140. So this is my target cost. Now for calculation of ABC. Now calculation of ABC, first I will have to prepare statement showing the cost driver rates.
Cost.
Prepare a statement like this. Statement showing cost driver rates. Activity, amount, cost driver, CDQ, CDR. CDQ is cost driver quantity, CDR is cost driver rate.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now activity is what? First is setup. Total amount 26,250. What is the cost driver? Number of production runs. Second, stores receiving. Amount is 18,000. Cost driver, number of requisitions. Handling or dispatch, sorry, machine department. Machine department. 50 to 130. Machine hours. Handling and dispatch. $23,100. Orders executed. Now we don't have the cost driver quantities here. So we'll have to calculate. I'll give the working note here. Starting with the first one, number of production runs. How to calculate? So they have told me that I am producing 600, 500, 400 and 600 units of A, B, C and D. So units are given, correct? And they have given me that in per production run, I'm having how many units? I'm having 20 units. Produced in production runs of 20 units. Have you got that? So in one production run, there are 20 units. So what I do is, for the first product, 600 units are produced. So 600 divided by 20. Second product, 500 units are produced. So 500 divided by 20. Third, 400 divided by 20. And fourth, 600 divided by 20. So I will get 30 plus 25 plus 20 plus 30. 60, 80, 105. Sorry, one more item I'm missing now. Inspection I have not taken. Inspection is 10,500. And you all don't tell me also. RK, what is this here? Write the last one. Inspection 10,500. Number of production months 105. Okay. Now next that I require is number of requisitions. Number of requisitions. I'm told that there are 100 requisitions for each product. So 100 plus 100 plus 100 plus 100. 400. Number of requisitions 400. Now to calculate machine hours. Machine hours. $600 units. And machine hours per unit is 4. So 600 into 4.
6,500.
600 into 4 plus 500 into 3 plus 400 into plus 600 into 3. So that is 2,400 plus 1,500 plus 800 plus 1,500. That is 651. 6,000.
6,000.
Machine hours 6,500. Number of orders executed, they have given to us. The number of orders executed was 210. So calculate now. Divide the total amount by the cost level quantity. This, have you got the rates? 26,250 divided by 105.
250.
18,000 divided by 400.
45.
45.
45. 52,130 divided by 6,500.
8.02.
8.6.
23,100 divided by 210.
110.
110.
110. 10,500 divided by 100.
100.
100.
Okay. Now, with the help of this, I will prepare statement showing total cost under ABC system. Statement showing total cost under ABC system. Statement showing total cost under ABC system. Particulars in 4 columns. Starting with the first one. Direct material cost. 600 into 400. 24,000. 500 into 50. 25,000. 400 into 30. 12,000. And 600 into 60. 36,000. Direct labor cost, same way. 600 into 28. 16,800. 500 into 21. 10,500. 400 into 14. 5,600. Last one. 600 into 21. 12,600. Then all the indirect cost. Setup cost. Go to the cost drivers. Cost driver rate is 250. 250 into, for product A, it is on the basis of production runs. 250 into 30.
7,500.
7,500. Correct. Then 250 into 25. 6,250. Then 250 into 20. 5,000. Last one. 7,500. Stores receiving. Stores receiving 45. Number of requisitions. You see number of requisitions. It is 100, 100, 100, 100. So it is 45 into 100, 45 into 100, 45 into 100. 4,500. Stores receiving cost. 4,500 each. Inspection cost. Now you calculate and tell me. Inspection cost. Rate is calculated.
Machine cost.
How much? 3,000. 2,500. 2,000.
2,000. 3,000.
3,000. Okay. Material handling cost, next one. So calculate and tell me. Rate is known to 110. So tell me.
23,000.
First one. For A it is material handling cost.
23,100.
23,100. That is a total cost here. I want for A separate, B separate, C separate, D separate.
$6,600.
How do you get 6,600? Tell me now.
So one batch
One batch is
consists of 10 units.
correct.
So order is 210. No, sir. 210 divided by 10.
Hmm.
Three.
Actually, output is 600, sir, for A. So 600 divided by 10 is 60 into 110.
Absolutely. So we have to first find out number of batches. Number of batches, 600 units of A are manufactured, and every batch it is 10 units of the product. So 600 divided by 10, we'll get 60 batches. So 60 batches into 110, that will give us 6,600. For B, I am producing 500 units, 10 units per batch, so 50 batches are there. So 50 into 110 is 5,500. Then 4,400. And then 6,600. Machine costs. Machine costs. Tell me the figures. 8.02 per unit.
19,248.
19,248. Then
12,030.
12,030. And 6,416.
6,416.
Correct. Then 14,436.
1,430.
436.
Now take the total of all these costs.
81,648.
1,648.
66,280.
66,280.
66 to 80.
39,916.
39,916.
4,636.
Next line, net output. 600, 500, 400, 600. Calculate cost per unit.
136.0.
0.08.
136.0.
132.56.
2.56.
132.56.
132.56. Then
99.79.
99.79.
99.6.
141.06.
141.06.
Now what do this? Last calculate target cost that you have already calculated. 140, 136.
100.
100, 140.
140.
Now, target cost means what? Concept of target cost. Concept of target cost means that the total cost should not be exceeding. Total cost should not be exceeding a particular level of cost. That is the target cost. So for A, it should not be exceeding 140. For B, it should not be exceeding 160, and so on. So what do you find now? You find that A's actual cost per unit under ABC is within the target cost. B also it is within the target cost. C also it is within the target cost. But D is exceeding the target cost.
But the
Correct? That means for A, B, and C, I don't mind reducing the selling price also, because after reducing the selling price also, my target cost is met. That means I'm quite safe. My profit is higher than expected, because my profit, if 136.08, that means it is higher than what I'm expecting, because I'm expecting the target cost to 140, but actual cost is less than that. So actually my profit is going to increase. But for product D, what is going to happen is the actual cost is more. Therefore, either the company should develop measures to reduce the total cost of D, or company should redesign the product so that the cost of D, overall cost of D comes down. So either D should be redesigned. First of all, try to reduce the cost of D. If that is not possible, then redesign the product D so that the overall cost of D comes down and it is below the target cost. Let us write down. Write comments. Write down. Actual cost of products A, B, and C. Actual cost of product A, B, and C are well below the target cost. Are well below the target cost. Therefore, there is no problem in reducing. There is no problem in reducing the selling price of these products. The selling price of these products by 5 rupees. By 5 rupees. It will help in increasing the profitability. it will help in increasing the profitability of the company full stop. Next line, right? However, in case of product D, the actual cost is slightly more than the target cost. Slightly more than the target cost. Therefore, the company should either control the cost. The company should either control the cost or redesign the product. Come to question 7. Following are the data of the product alpha for the next year budget. Activity, cost driver, quantity, and cost pool is given. So you have to calculate cost driver rate. Okay, all the figures are given. Purchasing, selling, material handling, inspection, machining cost, everything is given. Purchase orders are given. Output is given. Production batch size is 100 units. Material movement is 6. Machine hours per unit is 0.1. Calculate the budgeted overhead cost using ABC principles. First. Second, calculate the budgeted overhead cost using absorption costing, that is traditional costing, using machine hours as a basis. And third, how can the company reduce the ABC for the product alpha? Okay, so let us start with the first statement. What is the first statement going to be? First statement will be your calculation of cost driver rates. So prepare the statement. Now I want you to solve it on your own now. Only the first statement, the second statement I will show you. Prepare the statement. Statement showing cost driver rates. Write down all the items. Amount. Amount is nothing but the cost pool. Another word for amount is cost pool. So don't get frightened with the words. And cost driver rate, cost driver quantity, cost driver rate. I'll be back in 2 minutes. So tell me the figures now. Purchasing, what is the CDR?
1250, sir.
50, no? What is the CDR for selling cost?
40.
40.
40.
What is it for material handling?
12.
12. For inspection,
25.
25.
25. And machine cost?
3.
3.
I suppose everybody has got this. You have to fill up the table. Right? The statement of budgeted cost. That is what they have asked. Using overhead principles, that is your ABC principles. So prepare that. Next statement of mine. The statement of budgeted overhead cost. Statement of budgeted overhead cost. Bracket you write ABC. Purchasing cost. Purchasing cost. Rate is 50 into 25 orders. 1250. Selling cost. Selling cost. Rate is 40 into how many batches?
Was it
40 batches. Tell me how many batches will be there? Total number of units is how much? Output is 15,000 units. Production batch size is 100 units per batch. Yes or no? 15,000 units is the output per batch. The per
Yes,
batch the size is 100 units. So 15,000 divided by 100. How many batches?
150 batches?
Batches. 150 batches. 6,000. Material handling. Material handling. Rate is 12. Now material handling is on the basis of movement. But movement per batch is given as 6. And how many batches are there? 150 batches. So 12 into 150 into 6.
10,800.
10,800.
Inspection.
Inspection cost. Rate is 25. Depends on number of batches. 150 batches are there. So 25 into 150 batches.
3750.
3,700.
375. Machine cost.
Machine cost. 3 into 0.1.
Machine cost rate is 3. And 15,000 units are there. machine hour per unit is 0.1.
4,500.
So 4,500. Take the total.
Twenty-six 300.
Okay. 26,300. It is clear. Now, what we'll do is just go back to the previous statement. That cost pool is given to you now. Take the total of that cost pool now. Tell me how much. Take total of cost pool.
50.
5 lakh
3,000.
So that is the total overhead cost. 5 lakh 3,000, that is the total of the cost pool. It's nothing but the total overhead cost. Okay. So just keep that amount ready because I want it for next calculation. Next calculation is absorption costing. This is traditional method on machine hour basis. So right. Absorption costing on machine hour basis. Total overheads. You have just calculated, that is total of the cost pool 5 lakh 3,000. Total machine hours given to us in the problem. Total machine hours given to us in the problem 50,000. 50,000. So overhead cost. Overhead cost per machine hour. Is equal to 5 lakh 3,000 divided by 50,000.
10.06.
10.06 per hour. Okay. Therefore, overhead cost for alpha is equal to 15,000 units into 0.1 per unit into rate 10.06 per hour. Tell me how much?
15,090.
15,900. 15,090, no?
15,090.
9.
Yes.
90, sir. 15,090.
Okay. Okay. Now the question is,
Sir.
yes. Difficulty, tell me. Anything not followed? So as per the traditional method, that is sorry, ABC method, you are having overhead cost is 26,300. As per the traditional absorption costing method, you are having the overhead cost is 15,090. Now, the third part of the question is how can the company reduce the ABC? Because ABC is more than the traditional costing. So how can the company reduce the ABC? ABC, most of the calculations are done on the basis of number of batches. And number of batches, if you see, are very high. That is 150 batches are there. So how can we reduce the number of batches? We can reduce the number of batches by increasing the batch size. So now output is 15,000 units and the batch size is 100 units. So I'm having 150 batches. So suppose I have 200 units per batch. Then what will happen? It will reduce to 75 batches. So wherever the calculations are done in ABC on the basis of number of batches, the cost will come down. Okay. So that can be done. Purchase orders. You can reduce the purchase orders, number of purchase orders. We can speed up we are having machine hours as 1,500 machine hours. So we can speed up the production process and thereby reduce the time involved, that is the machine hours, for manufacturing process. So write down steps to reduce. Steps to reduce activity-based cost. Steps to reduce activity-based cost. Right. Point number 1. Increase the batch size. Increase the batch size so that number of batches will reduce. So that number of batches will reduce. Full stop. Continue the same point. Also reduce the selling cost, material handling, and inspection cost. Also reduce selling cost, material handling cost, and inspection cost. Selling cost, material handling cost, and inspection cost. Second point. Reduce the purchase orders. Reduce the purchase orders. Third point. Speed up the production process. Speed up the production process to reduce the machine hours. If you don't want to write speed up, you can write increase. Increase the production process to reduce the machine hours.
Speed up the production process to reduce the machine hours.
Yes, speed up the production process to reduce the machine hours.
Okay.
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 So with that, we'll complete today's lecture. I think 7 problems have been done. We have only 3 more problems left in this particular chapter. If I'm not mistaken, I think total 10 problems are there. And that we'll be able to complete by tomorrow's session. So I'll complete these 3 problems in tomorrow's session. And time permitting, I will be starting with transfer pricing. Okay, new topic, transfer pricing. So till then, have a nice day. Keep safe. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.